let's just jump into the
All right.
questions.
Wow. So how do you go about striking the balance between adding transfers who can help you immediately and also adding guys who might need a year or two but will also be in the program longer?
Right. So I think philosophically, you have to make a determination on who you are and what your program's about. And I've said from day one, I want to be a developmental program. And with that, meaning that the bulk of your guys are going to be high school guys that you recruit and then you develop, and they become the good players over time. They also help you establish the culture and the environment. Now, with the way things are in college football, the ease of movement, you have to be ready to react. Roster management is it's a daily thing that you're working on, and so I think it starts philosophically. And for us, we want to be a developmental program and then supplement through the transfer portal as needed. And so that's how we strike the balance, and that's the approach that we take. And when you look at it, 18 total guys that we signed so far, and 13 of those are high school guys, and so we want to kind of keep that balance as long as we can. Now, what that also means too is we got to do a great job of retention of our guys. We got to develop our guys, and so that we can keep that balance. And then if it gets out of balance, then you may have a year where you just got to react. But philosophically, our approach is we want to be a developmental program.
Within the high school class, you have 6 early enrollees in this group. How important is getting those guys on grounds, and what stands out about this group of early enrollees?
Yeah, it's we actually added one, so we got 7 of those guys, and it's huge. And I think that's one of the larger numbers that have come in high school wise at UVA, and it allows them to get acclimated academically. When you're talking about from the player perspective, they get acclimated in the spring. They get a chance to go through 15 practices. They get the winter workouts. It's huge, and so by the time you actually hit the grass in the fall, it's almost like they've had a year under their belt. So that transition doesn't take as much time, and then also it gives us a opportunity to evaluate and kind of see where they are and if they're going to be able to contribute early. You have a better idea of that, but the guys that we do have coming early, man, just excited about these guys, and pretty much all but one, or actually 2 were committed for a long time. We're guys that 5 of them were committed from last summer and kind of stayed the course with us. And then we added Cam Courtney and Miles Brown kind of in season with our evaluations and their recruiting process. So we get some guys in pretty much at all different positions. We have guys coming in offensively and defensively that I'm excited. And I think we have some core guys that are about what the program's about, so they'll have a chance to get a head start on immersing themselves in the culture, and then they'll be able to also communicate that out to the guys in their class that are coming in the summer.
What's the biggest difference in trying to pitch a high school recruit versus a transfer recruit, and how does the speed, I guess, play a factor in that, knowing the portal is quick and fast?
Yeah, so it's two different worlds. Me personally, I would like everything to be relational as much as possible and not transactional. But when you're dealing with a high school kid, it's a lot more relational because this is their first time going through it. So, man, they're taking everything in, and their approach is more so a holistic approach. They're looking at every aspect of the equation in terms of academics, football, just transition to college, all of that. So it's a lot more relational. You're educating them on what the future is going to look like. When you're dealing with a transfer, it kind of depends on undergrad versus grad transfer, and it's almost like speed dating, to be honest with you. It happens fast because you can't talk to them until they get into the portal. The portal doesn't open until December 5th, right? And here we are, December 20th. So, and a lot of these guys in the portal are already making decisions, right? So basically you got a 2-week window to try to develop a relationship, evaluate it, and they're typically more pointed on what they're looking for. They've been through some of just the fluff of recruiting, so to speak, right? They've done the photo shoots, they've done a lot of those things. They want to know more about, okay, I'm leaving this institution to come to this institution. I have specific criteria that I'm looking for. You're able to kind of get right down to what it is that they're looking for. For a high school kid, they're still trying to figure it out. right? So you're trying to educate them on what they should be looking for as opposed to a transfer guy that pretty much knows what he's looking for. But the timing is really different. And it's also happening, it's speeding up some of the high school stuff too, because with the portal, some of the high school kids that thought they had opportunities, now might not have those opportunities because a program may favor a more experienced transfer guy for that particular spot. So it's a juggling act, but each one you kind of know where they are and what they've had exposure to, and then you just try to be able to educate them and provide them the information that they need relative to where they are to make the best decision.
You have quite a few guys from the state of Virginia on here. Just talk about the challenges of trying to rebuild that trust and relationship around the state and how you feel where you are right now.
Right. So we got I think 6 total from the state of Virginia, 4 high school, 2 transfers right now so far, and we're still working, and we'll continue to work throughout this time up until the next signing day. And as I said, Virginia is a priority, inside out. I want to do it with guys in state, and I feel like we made a run at all the top players in the state, and we got in the race with some of them and came down to the final 2, and then some like we weren't able to get into the race because they had already had established relationships. I think, for us, the biggest thing is making sure that the guys that we do have, right, they have a great experience. And so far, the guys that are from Virginia are having a good experience here, and I think that resonates with the coaches. I think the addition of a couple of guys coming back to Virginia is going to help us because they see it kind of creates some interest with especially the younger high school guys that may not have had a connection to Virginia, but now they see some of these older guys that were high profile coming back. It's like, okay, well, then maybe let's take a look at what's going on at Virginia. I think we have to work at, breaking some stigmas and some stereotypes about UVA that may have been warranted or unwarranted, right? We have to educate them on what UVA is right now. And the only way we can do that is be consistent in the schools. The players that fit what we're looking for, we got to recruit them hard, provide them every opportunity to come, and when they do come, have success. But then also make sure that that we're delivering on the deliverables, that they're having a great experience. We're making sure that they're progressing academically, they're developing football-wise, and as we do those things, I think the relationships will continue to improve. But want to sign as many guys from the state of Virginia as we possibly can, and I know the staff and myself are making a run at all the top players, and it's just going to take us, more time. But I think we're headed in the right direction.
And it appears you did a really good job of retaining your players. Did you do anything different this year, or?
Yeah, I think last year, we're in 2 different spots. Last year we were coming off, a situation that, is unfathomable, right? And then you had guys that were in a position where they had finished, their degrees, and then they have that, and, there's opportunities out there from an NIL standpoint. There was a lot of different factors. This year, I think the guys had been through now, I'd say almost a normal year, right, with the staff, better relationships. I think the guys saw the investment in them from a program standpoint, both in-house and then also in the NIL space, trying to improve those opportunities for them. They felt like they could get whatever they needed from a development standpoint with the staff. So I don't know if we did anything different as much as we just had another year of time together. It was a little bit more of a normal cycle. Even though we did have some, external things that we had to deal with. And I think that the guys also are a little bit more educated on what the reality is out there. I don't think that perception is the reality when it comes to going in the portal for NIL and all those type of things. So I think they feel good about the development opportunities, the relationships, the direction that we're headed, and then the work that was done by the athletic department and our supporters to help them have opportunities from an NIL standpoint.
You go on Twitter some and you see Calandria and Cam Robinson kind of advocating for some guys to come to Virginia out of the portal. What does that say about your program that they are helping recruit, and how helpful is that?
I'm grateful for those guys because those were a couple of early individuals to believe in what we're doing here as a program and what our program's about holistically. And then they had early success, and they want to, they want to be advocates for what's going on within the program. And I'm not on Twitter as much, so I don't see what they're doing, but I appreciate the work that they're doing. But it's just a testament to the fact that they're having a good experience. They feel like they're being developed. They feel like they're being taken care of. They're having opportunities to grow, and then they believe in the direction that we're headed. And good players want to play with good players, and so they're doing their part as well to help recruit the top guys that have an opportunity to come back.
And then sticking on the portal, you got Chris Tyree from Notre Dame. Obviously, you wish Lake Washington could play here forever, but his one season here, what kind of impact has that had on bringing in other wide receivers?
I think it just illustrates what's possible, and obviously, we talk about as coaching staff, we have a vision for what we want to do offensively, defensive, special teams wise, the direction that we're headed. But to have Malik have the type of year that he had, just kind of opens up people's eyes to what's possible. So when you have conversations with them, then you have the proof, and you say, okay, well, here's a guy who he bet on himself last year, went into the portal, believed in what we're doing, and he came and he had production. And so those opportunities are available to you if you desire to come to the University of Virginia. And so it's a credit to Malik's work. You can't take anything away from Malik, man. He put in the work, he earned it. But also it opens up some eyes and creates a little bit of a spotlight on what's possible through what we're doing here at UVA.
I think last year you added 4 players, all of them transfers after signing day, guys who came after the spring semester. When you look at the roster now, I mean, A, are you expecting to add more players, and B, what positions need to be filled out at this point?
Yeah, so we'll continue to not just recruit the portal, but also go back and see which high school guys may not have signed that pushed their signing out to see if there's some good developmental guys out there. But quarterback is a position where we're continuing to look in both aspects to find the right potential fit with our numbers at quarterback. We're good at running back. Tight end, we'll continue to actively look at tight end. Wide out, we're still recruiting at wide out. O-line, we feel like we're in a pretty good spot with the 3 young guys that we brought in, and then also adding Drake. Defensively, on the D-line, we feel like we're in good shape. Also, with all those guys, those 4 guys coming back on the D-line really helped us out there, kind of slows it down until the next cycle. Linebacker, if we find the right one at linebacker. Safety, we feel like we're in a good spot, but we got to be really active at corner. Yeah, we got to go, beef up our numbers at corners and find some experienced guys that can come in here and compete, and then also be looking for potentially a long snapper.
Let me follow up with that. In the running back room, I know Paris's career here is over. Mike moving on, presumably, and then
so you got
Foston.
Foston and Cody Brown have
moved.
have moved on, but you got Xavier Brown returning. You have Dante Hawthorne. You have Greasy is a guy that's been in there, and then you got Kobe Pace. And then you got Noah Vaughn.
Yeah.
So we got 4 scholarship guys and a really good high level walk on that could be a scholarship guy at other places. So right now we're sitting at that number. So the previous cycles we were a little bit heavy at running back. And now we need to prioritize those numbers, in a different spot, and we feel good about the 5 that we have in the room right now.
At tight end, you added Tyler Neville.
Yeah.
Do you want to use the tight end more in the passing game? Is that the thought with bringing Neville in?
Oh, no doubt. And even, in the past, we wanted to use a tight end. And the way that I kind of explain, the situation is I go back to my personal experience when I was coordinating. When we had the tight end body, it was the tight end was pretty dynamic, and then when you didn't quite have that body, that's when Hunter Renfrow kind of came on the scene, right? Because he took, and then so that's what you saw out of Malik. Like Malik took some of those play concepts that typically you would like a bigger body tight end to be there. But the tight end's got to be able to stretch the field. He's got to be able to do all those things. So adding Tyler with his production and his body type we definitely want to get the tight end more involved, and then it balances us out too, right? So then now it spreads the distribution a little bit. It forces the defense to have to declare a little bit quicker. So definitely want to get the tight end more involved, and being that we're predominantly 11 personnel. 11 personnel offense, you don't want to become super predictable in passing situations by constantly having to motion or formation a certain way when certain concepts, you typically want to use your tight end for.
And then you mentioned the returning D-line guys. What was your message to them, and surprised at all that they all decided to come back?
I knew if Cam was given an opportunity, he wanted to, because it's just unfortunate for him. I thought he was trending in a great direction from an NFL standpoint. I thought he was having a great season, and then that gets cut short, and then the recovery time would put him where he's missing combine, he's missing pro days, and so I don't know if he had enough body of work. And so, we knew that if he was granted an additional year, he would come back. Chico was one that I wasn't sure on because he has enough body of work to test the waters and get a shot, but he wanted to. He made the decision that he wanted to come back and improve. Smiley had told me early on that I had him for a couple years, so I was just trying to hold him true to his word when he told me that. And then John Carter was kind of on the bubble, and so there was two of them that I thought we had a good chance. The other two I just didn't know because they played a lot of football. And the NFL is, that's something they've dreamed about. But the message to them was, hey man, if you're gonna come back, let's go to work. Let's figure out what it is we need to do to help you improve, so you can improve your opportunities for the next level. Come back, lead, and then let's go finish what we started.
Kind of following up on that, Brian Stevens today
Yeah.
also announced that he will come back. How
Right.
big is
That's
him
huge.
coming back?
That's huge, and just a credit to him, and really, kind of the ability of the staff to evaluate. Here's a guy that was a non-scholarship guy at Dayton that comes in and he's honorable mention all ACC. And really what you saw is when he took over at center, we kind of just had a calming effect on the offense and kind of stabilized it. And really that's where you got to be strong, is at your center and at your quarterback position, and that helped the young quarterback when he was in there. So that's huge. He brings a ton of leadership, ton of experience. So excited about having him back. That was probably it's kind of crazy when you got signing day, but sometimes you're celebrating just the guy staying on your roster as much. So that was a huge get for us as a program.
I think his decision came around when Drake Metcalf also committed around that
Yeah.
same time period. What did you like about Drake when you saw him, and what do you like about his versatility of playing like center and guard?
Yeah, it gives us option there, and obviously, so now you feel good with three guys that can snap the ball, that have all done it in live action. But what Drake brings is, man, he brings a toughness, like he plays on the edge, a nasty demeanor about himself, complete gentleman off the field. He's an experienced guy. He's got versatility. He doesn't have much of an ego. There's already a cohesion and a chemistry between he and Coach Heff. So there were a lot of things that were very attractive about Drake. And, he's kind of been through this one time before. So now okay, he's already been through this. He knows exactly what he wants. And so he found that here at UVA. He already meshed well with the guys while he was here on the visit, because part of it is when we bring these guys in, we want feedback from the players too and tell us, okay, does this guy fit where we're trying to go? So it was just a good match all the way around.
You were confident on this day last year that Cam Robinson had the potential to contribute as a true freshman.
Yeah.
When you look at the incoming freshman group, do you see players or a player, like that who you feel the same way about?
Yeah, when I look at the list of guys, I'm excited about Kiki. Kiki Adams, he's a guy on the back end. Miles' athleticism, may need a little time in the weight room to develop. Cam Courtney, I'm excited. I think Cam Courtney is a guy that can contribute both in the return game and then at receiver. And really excited about what he brings coming from a championship caliber program. The young linemen, you'd like to not put that pressure on the young offensive linemen. Kevon may be a guy that might have to, at corner. the guys in the trenches, Jewett and Chase, we'll see when they get here. Tyler Simmons is a guy that I could see kind of like a Jason last year. As we get into the season, being a guy that could be a rotational guy, but you never know. But I think if I had to say, I'd say Cam Courtney, Kiki, and then possibly Tyler as I project. But again, we got to wait till they get here and see where they are when they arrive.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Courtney, just how important it was to get a guy like that after he decommitted, and he had a lot of options. How big a step is that in getting a guy like him?
Man, huge, because it's an in-state guy and a guy that we went on early, and then he ended up deciding to leave the state, and then an opportunity presented itself, and we jumped on it. And the program that he's coming from, Coach Overton does a great job with those guys. I mean, they've won back-to-back state titles, undefeated seasons, and so not only are you getting the talent, but you're also getting the championship character and somebody that can speak to what it takes and what it's like. And so it's a huge get. He's a very versatile guy too. He can play a lot of positions, man. He obviously we're going to start him at wide out, but he could play corner. He's a kick returner, man. He's just a football player. So I think for me, what's exciting is he's a football player. He's from the state of Virginia. He knows how to win, and those are all pluses for us.
Some of the guys could possibly fly in a little bit underneath the radar, like Jewett Hayes, I think, is one of the guys. What did you like about him, and is he one of those guys that you think could be, I guess, better than their ranking, or someone that could kind of pick up later on?
Right. What you like about Jewett is the upside. I mean, he's long. I just saw him last week. Went by the school, and he's every bit of 6'4", and his arms are down to the ground. He's got twitch, as we like to say in this business. He's explosive, still developing. His body's only going to expand. So I think he's a guy, him and Chase as well. Chase, when you see Chase, man, Chase is continuing to fill out his body. So I think with both of those guys, what you like is the upside and the potential. So you have some really, really good raw materials that you can kind of shape into some really good players when it's all said and done. So the upside is what you really like, the athleticism, and then their frame and the projection on how big their frames can get.
You mentioned that you're looking for another quarterback or would be open to that. What's the situation going to be in the spring? Is Tony Muskett going to be available, or is he recovering?
Yeah, so I think Tony had surgery on his shoulder, doing well. Talked to him the other day. And in spring, what we're anticipating is he'll be able to throw a little bit, but you got to be very, very careful with getting contact. Right, so he wouldn't be available for any kind of contact stuff, but should be able to start back throwing. So that's what we anticipate for the spring.
I guess along those lines, is it tough to sell the quarterback room when you have two guys who have played?
Yes and no. Like, I think the quarterback recruiting right now is crazy, and you guys that follow the portal and everything that's going on, it's just it always was accelerated. So the quarterback recruiting was always accelerated, always happened faster than any other position group, and naturally so, right? Now it's crazy, and for us, we were more targeting younger developmental guys, right, to keep the distribution. But even those guys, man, at the high school level, man, those guys are hard to come by. And so I think it's more a function of just the state of quarterback recruiting. And then when you do have two guys that have had production and had success to a certain extent, it does. Especially in the transfer world, younger guys, maybe not so much because there's distribution, there's spacing, but in the transfer world, it does make for a difficult conversation.
And then on Cam Courtney, did you guys get a chance to see him when he was in the state title game right at Scottsdale?
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I was really excited and really appreciate Blanda and the facilities crew and everybody's work that was involved in pushing to have the games hosted here in Charlottesville. And it was fun to watch, everybody that played. Man, those were some exciting games, high-level football, ton of talent on the field and from all four teams, competitive. They were back and forth, so it was fun. But, yeah, you got a chance to see his versatility out of the backfield, carrying the ball, catching the ball, and also in the return game.